So, I know I usually don't talk about this stuff, but I thought it would be a good idea to do a series about the importance of certain things in movies because I kinda wanted to. It's not strictly geek stuff, but I believe it still matters to talk about technical stuff even in superhero movies. Since this is a geek channel, of course I'm gonna be using some pop culture movies to exemplify what I'm saying, but I will also be including some other more, let's say, artistic films, or simply other types of films. Anyway, it doesn't matter, so let's just get to it. So, today I'm going to be talking about the importance of color in movies, because I feel like this is something that is not appreciated enough by the regular audience, and it is of extreme importance to any type of film. The way I think about it, the overall color palette of a scene determines its personality, which means that it is the color the one that establishes the tone and the mood of the scene, or the movie in general. Or it could be as simple as merely a way to tell the audience who is good and who is evil. Colors can be used to transmit a very specific emotion, however, the same color can be used to represent multiple emotions. Red, for example, is often used to represent love and passion, but it can also be used to represent blood and danger. We all have certain psychological responses to different colors, but those responses often depend a lot on the context. If you saw a green field, it would give you a sense of peace. However, if that same color is used in scenes like this, their response is different. As you can see, there's not one particular set of rules on how to use color, and while different colors are often associated with a particular feeling, like white with peace, purity, or resolution, green with greed, envy, or disgust, yellow with joy, optimism, or enlightenment, in the end, you are free to make colors your own. Besides feelings, colors can also be associated with characters. For example, in the movie Whiplash, the color yellow can be associated with J.K. Simmons' character, just because that color is present in almost every scene that he is in. When we look at scenes with Andrew and Nicole, they don't use the color yellow, so that we can feel a little more relaxed and comfortable with those scenes, but as soon as the yellow color comes up on the screen, we start feeling anxious, because we know what the color means in the context of the movie. Some other aspects of color that can change our perception or response to a particular scene is the saturation and value of the color. The saturation of the color is how strong or how intense you want your color to be. This means that a color with zero saturation is going to be black and white, while a color with 100% saturation is going to be as intense as that color gets. Now, value is how bright or how dark you want your color to be. These two aspects of color can completely change our psychological response to that color. Throughout the years, filmmakers and artists in general have noticed that specific combinations of different colors bring different senses of harmony. Those different harmonies of color are monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and triadic. Monochromatic harmonies are the ones who have one primary color, and the only thing that changes is the saturation, value, or brightness of that same color. Analogous harmonies are the ones that use colors that do not contrast one another. In other words, they are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel and do not seem to be too different from one another, like cold and warm colors. Blue and purple, red and orange, green and yellow, you get the idea. Complementary harmonies use the colors that are on the opposite end of the color wheel, so there is a great contrast between them, like blue and orange, red and green, purple and yellow, etc. And finally, triadic harmonies use colors that are at the same distance from each other when we look at them on the color wheel, like red, blue, and yellow. This is one of the strongest critiques I have towards Marvel movies. They do not take full advantage of the power of color and instead just end up making movies that look gray or look like a mess. They lack this sense of harmony that all the combinations of color that I mentioned previously bring. Not all Marvel movies and not all Marvel scenes look like this, but there are quite a few out there that have given me that feeling personally. They don't know what they want to be, and you can see that visually. One example of this is the airport scene in Captain America: Civil War. In this scene, we look at the characters fight, but the colors are not telling us anything visually. This scene feels like it doesn't have nearly as much emotional weight as it could have had if it had used the right colors to express itself. This is the color palette for this scene, and this is what I mean by gray movies. The colors on screen don't really provoke any psychological response, or not the one it should at least. If we look at this movie's DC counterpart, Batman v Superman, you can see that in this fight the colors are very dark and it takes place at night, which ends up telling us visually that Batman is the one in control of the situation and that he has the high ground in this battle. And this is such a shame because Marvel movies used to make good use of colors in their early stages. Captain America: The First Avenger, for example, made you feel in a totally different era by the colors present in the scene. Other factors contributed to this feeling as well, like production design, but what matters is that color had an important role. The same thing happens with Wonder Woman. We can feel like we are in times of the First World War because of how it uses its colors. In this particular scene of Wonder Woman, the colors give us a sensation of destruction, death, and darkness. You feel like this is really a war, and that's what colors are supposed to do. In the end, color is a matter of personal choice and you can use it however you please. There are no rules or limitation as to what you can do with color, but there are certain guidelines that can help you improve the quality of your film. If you can tell a story without the need of words, then you know you are using color in the right way. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter to know more about upcoming videos and tell me what you guys think. That's it for today and have a good one, guys.